Well, hello there, human to be earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and I hope you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. I'm Bushka on Blitz, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, aren't you in for a red hot little raver, a Bobby Dazzler, a rare treat? It's like a Sunday school picnic. The wind's up, and we're ready to set sail on the upward tack as I'm joined by my amigos, Raik and the Kid Vauv from the famed Promo Clan on the North American server. Say hello, boys.
Hi.
Wow.
How's it going, guys?
Oh, geez, that was electric. Let's... Excellent. Good to have you on board. You got all serious, some of you clowns. We're going to be looking today at something that's a little bit new in Blitz. I've had to fiddle and finagle a couple of videos from these clowns into a Platoon video, and I'm going to run it split screen. Now, the video you're seeing at the moment of me and a Predator is just a little bit of fodder while I carry on like a pork chop. The reason I'm doing this video is I wanted to explore the boundaries of the new replay system and try and use it for something that we haven't been able to do before, which is really good, high-quality footage of good players playing exceptionally good games in a split-screen situation where they are in Platoon, and then we can talk through the tactics and hopefully get a little bit of love out of it. Now, you boys were kind enough to send me through that footage. Thank you very much for that, by the way. I'm not including the results in this just because the bloody games and the whole video is going to be quite long, probably about 17, 20 minutes. And, I mean, are you guys okay with me not including the results?
Oh, that's fine. All they have to know is there was a 7K game on Dead Rail.
Okay. We'll talk through that.
I think pretty much everything that we submitted was 7,500 plus. So, I mean, it probably ranges up to 9,500. So it's somewhere in that range. We didn't send you anything that wasn't the
games
good teamwork or you know, just a ton of damage.
Now we're looking at it now. We're looking at Rockfield. Now I am anyway. You guys aren't. This is one of the pitfalls of the system so far. But I was really interested on Rockfield. You guys are running a WZ111 and an M46 pattern. Is there anything that goes into your choice of tank when you're picking tanks for Platoon?
I think the first thing is, you know, feeling each other out. Are you guys grinding, you know, is your platoon mate grinding a tank, or are you trying to raise your stats, or, you know, are you just cruising for fun? And that's kind of what Vauv and I were doing together.
You're just cruising for fun?
Yeah, we were going for, I guess, good games, high win rate matches and sessions, and I think that's why we chose those tanks, is like they have the ability to carry, like the M46 packs the DPM, and so does the 11114.
Yeah, it's a crazy name, isn't it? Yeah, and you work really well together like that. Now, Raik, you're in the WZ. You actually played the heavy role a fair bit on this, like the punching bag role. Is that something that comes from your esports background?
I think it does a little bit. I think it's hard to go from a caller or a comp player and play pubs and see things unfold and not try to step in a little bit more aggressively. Usually, you know, there's that point in the game where you say to yourself, okay, if we don't do something quick, this game is going to very quickly slip away. And so I think it's just much easier to just kind of jump in on those opportunities, kind of dive into things.
Yeah, you guys don't always stick together, but you do on this map in particular, but you do play your roles very well. Vauv is shredding the slower tanks in the M46, and you are dominating their mediums in a WZ. Throughout the videos, it's fairly obvious too that you do combine tanks that have a lot of damage output with tanks that can also take a pounding. Is there a particular favorite you guys have, like platoon makeup you guys have?
I like our Conqueror WZ11114. That was a really good one in my opinion.
Yep.
We went on a really good run in that. As I love the Conqueror, it's one of my favorite tier 9s, and I guess Raik might love the 1114, and he plays it very well.
There is
I think it just...
Yeah, talk to me, right? Talk to me.
I think it just depends as to, you know, what you're trying to do. You know, if you always have like one medium tank and one heavy, you can always have one person go to hold, and that way you have the flexibility with the medium to say, like, you know, this side's weaker, make sure to push, or please relocate to cover this shots, or, you know, you have more abilities to alter the game. If you pick, you know, twin STIs or ST1s, you're very slow, and so I think it's more fun to have something that's a bit more mobile.
There is a great moment here. You're on Alpenstadt and you're in an ST1
Oh, yeah.
and WZ. You guys have a lot of firepower ahead of you. Talk us through that. This is where the 183 is on the other side of the bridge, and you guys have tanks all around you.
Well, it starts out looking a bit more menacing than it does midway through. There's an E100 that gets absolutely deleted.
Yeah.
And it's part of the reason why we wanted to make sure to finish out the rest of the game strong. The two of us clown around a little bit. I didn't see that he was looking to side scrape the building originally.
Yeah.
We both poked shots, hit the E100 for 800, 850, and then all of a sudden, a couple other shells come in, and it's lost like 2,300, and it's finished off, seconds later.
Yep.
So I think within 5 to 7 seconds of the first shot penetrating the lower plate of the E100, it's dead. So right off the bat, really good focus fire. Our team was clearly looking at the fact that we spotted a tank and trained the guns on it, and that was pretty cool. The next thing was just, okay, there's a 57 heavy in front of us, there's the 183. How do we work them over without getting annihilated? The two tanks are quite menacing. One's an autoloader, one's a one-shot high alpha tank, so you have to be careful not to poke way too much and expose yourself in such a way where you're going to get really punished for it. So it was fun.
Yeah, Vauv, you did a really good job there on that engagement. Raik took a couple of hits from the 183 particularly, and you really did then work and share your hit point pool very well.
I think that's where one of the things that came into, shows good platoon work is, our teamwork. As Raikkonen was taking so many hits, I decided to step in and take some. And I think that's another reason why we won that game. I think there was, 2 big TDs that were staring at us that battle, and we were able to outmaneuver them and the enemies that were, focusing us from the town. And I guess that was, just a good game right there. And I think one of the reasons we were able to do that was because we both have backgrounds in calling, I suppose, and we're able to understand what the enemy's doing and manipulate how they're gonna play, and then play into that and kind of eliminate them, I suppose.
You both do a very, very good job of getting the most out of your hit point pool. I mean, you seem to be able to play very confidently on very, very low hit point numbers and adjust your play style accordingly. We're moving on to the map on Black Goldville, and that's a really interesting platoon makeup you're running there. K91 and a Conqueror.
Yeah. So that was my first game back in the K91 since our test days, and didn't really see if Wargaming touched it or not, and they kind of have. But the two of us just kind of crashed towards C and really took over that area.
Those are not the tanks you'd expect to be pushing C with in that map. It's a tier 10 game.
Yeah. It was one of those things where I think I got into a fight early with the 57 heavy, completely out-traded him.
Yeah.
Was just kind of surprised by it. And then once I was on top of it, we just kind of controlled the situation from there. There's a lot of crossfire out of the town and stuff like that. So it just became, where do we find shots? How do we trade HP to put out clips and stuff like that?
You guys are absolutely burning tanks down together. The focus fire on that 57 heavy and then the rest of the mob around there, it shredded that flank. You get an IS-4 in front of you, which is a much tougher, and Vauv's a little low on hit points. Talk us through dealing with big, heavy tanks like that. Vauv, you're in the conch at the back. What are you thinking as you're looking down that gun barrel?
I'm thinking of ways to try and conserve my HP, wiggling, things along those lines, making him, shoot my tracks. And I think in this game, Raikkonen moves around the buildings and gets side shots in him, right?
Yeah, he does, and then he comes back and hides behind an IS-7 when he's got no hit points left.
So I think what we're both thinking there is how we're going to stay alive and how we're going to keep our guns firing, even if we're cowering behind tanks, as we also need to live, and we still have to put our effect into the gameplay.
The amount of DPM you guys are pouring out there is phenomenal. You are literally shredding monster big heavy tanks down the flank. That's got to be a 7 or 8K platoon game as well. That's.
I think we were quite well over 8K. I think this is the one game where I pulled close to 4,900. There's another game where Vauv carries the heck out of me, but this was the one time that I did it. I think though, what usually happens is if someone gets kind of nuked or lit up early, we just adjust roles. So the other platoon mate will start to take over a little bit more of a aggressive role and take hits for the other. And that way you can just always keep a gun in the game. Obviously, we always are on voice chat together, so you can say, the IS-4 fired, come take a shot and pull back. We can communicate things without having to really think about it too much.
Would you recommend? Yeah, Rob, talk to me.
Oh, I think we also have like a high trust in one another. Like I believe Raikkonen is very competent, and I think he can hold his own. And like that allows me to be able to work other targets while he's working someone, and like I don't have to think about him as a person. I can worry about myself, and like I think that's a really good thing to have in a platoon. As like we could both do like two different jobs. Like one of us can control one flank and the other can control another, and I think that's like what helps us do really well too.
Absolutely. Now, you guys get to dead rail. Talk us through this dead rail. Raik, what are you thinking there? You're running a Foch, so it's a TD and a conk. Is this a good map for that lineup?
Yes.
It can be depending on where you put your team. So we were on I want to say we're on South Spawn, correct?
South Spawn, yeah.
Okay. So in this case, the Foch obviously wants to farm the AB openings and stuff like that. And then Vauv, I think, originally takes the AB line and just kind of spots into
working
the other
that ridge in the middle, yeah.
So essentially, I don't think I got spotted until really close to the end. And so it was just sit over A, and they were more than happy to continue to poke out and get shot. And so as long as Vauv is doing his job to stay spotting tanks and just kind of more so having presence and letting other tanks to do damage in that case, it worked out pretty well.
Would you guys say, remember, like way back in the dark days of Blitz, the platoons that you would run was so much more, like there was such a limited vision to your platoons. Like you'd be running Russian mediums or IS-7s or something like that, or double IS-6.
Yeah, double IS-6 was very, very good.
Do you guys feel like that's a really good part of the game now, that you can get so much out of different tanks?
Yes, I like variety. It creates a different like gameplay styles. Like before, it'd be IS-6s just steamrolling everybody if they were good players. But now, like, it depends upon like your tanks, and you can take different roles. IS-6s would just go to the same spot and farm. And tanks, like different lineups, you can have different setups. Like if there was another medium with me, Raikkonen would be up with me. If I was a TD as well, I'd probably be behind like the spawn rocks or something along those lines. And I think it affects the gameplay.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like you guys are very aggressive. Raikkonen is obviously farming, but Raik, you're taking advantage of some really aggressive play from the kid Vauv there on the ridge, and you seem to use absolutely every bit of your hit point pool. You make good trades. That's the other thing that a lot of people don't realize. If you're in platoon, you've got a big hit point pool you can share around.
I think when you realistically look at a platoon, you almost should take your HP and kind of combine it, in a sense. Because if you're working within close proximity to each other, you're not looking at two tanks with, let's say, 1,600 health. You're really looking with 3,200 health and two guns. If you're using your teamwork well, one of you gets shot, but you put two shots downrange into the other tank. It's that kind of system that can be really, really strong at working over flanks or holding or something like that. This is actually one of the games.
Yeah.
This is one of the games where the two of us get separated a bit more, and so it's him trying to patrol the ridgeline and shooting into spawn and kind of making sure that nothing's pushing through the town, while I'm just controlling the engagement at A. I'm more than happy to let them come through A, as long as they don't push through onto our side and get at Vauv's side while he's looking over the ridgeline. So, things can be separated so long as they're controlled.
Now Sorry, I don't want to cut you short there, but I just want to talk a little bit about mines, because I really love this game the most, because you two are in mediums and you take opposite bookends of the hill in mediums and kind of hold it like heavies. Like Bob's bouncing a crap load of stuff in that E50M. and you're kind of doing all the nasty stuff as they push up and try and get shots into him, and it's you two basically holding the entire team.
Forgive me. What tank am I in?
You're in a
62.
62A.
Okay.
In this
Yeah.
game, I recall we did little, not little, but like not as much damage as we did before, not 7-8K. But the reason we chose this replay was actually to show like the support one player can give to another in his team.
Yeah,
Because like here you see Raikkonen like taking, like when they poke to shoot me, Raikkonen pokes, and when they poke to shoot Raikkonen, I just shoot them and farm them, and it just shows like the different play styles you can hold in a platoon and how valuable it can be to be able to have someone that you're comfortable with to play with.
I think it also shows for me, like, people do say it's a heavy dominated game, and there is certainly some truth to that. But if you've got the finesse to play a medium and the skill to play a medium well in Platoon, you can still, make the most of the tanks and get away with a lot of quality gameplay as a unit.
You definitely need to be more skilled, or at least more disciplined, I think, in terms of when you poke, what tanks to shoot when, what kind of shells to use, just because that's kind of the nature of what a medium has to do at this point. But there's still a lot of reasons to use them. I think one of the cool things about the platoons is at a certain point, Vauv and I get a little bit separated, but he's still talking to me in terms of I'm looking in one direction and he's looking in a different one. But he's still covering. He knows where they're going to go to shoot at me. I know where they're going to try to have to push to hit him. And so there's kind of more of a mesh network, and it's not just as simple as, hey, this guy is pushing me. It's, watch your left side. I think there's a TD there. So the involvement is a lot of fun. I think that's kind of what builds for close team dynamics when you get to comp is we have our guys platoon with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes a big difference. Well, boys, thank you so much for that. That was enlightening and illuminating for the humans out there in the general populace who want to know a little bit more about how the top tier of humanity dresses up the platoons and rocks and rolls. Anything you'd like to add before we vamoose and head off into the dark blue yonder?
I just want to say thank you for having me.
It's a
Mr.
pleasure.
Bushka.
It's a pleasure, the kid, Vauv. And I hope
Oh.
if you're desperate, guys, before we even Raikkonen, Vov's got some great stock tips if you want to make a little bit of cash as well.
NBC,
Yeah, OP investor.
OP investing with Vov. Raik, and you're off to Seattle for the offline.
Yeah. So we'll be flying out. Next Thursday.
Wicked.
It's coming up way quicker than it seems like it should.
Yeah, man. I wish I was there with you boys. It would have been great fun.
You and I have already talked about this.
Yeah. Ad nauseum. Yeah.
It's certainly not going to be the same. I think when we won in Vegas last year, it took a little bit, but we kind of realized like midway through, we could hear you getting excited in the commentary box, all the way in the back, like 12 rows up. So it's going to be a little weird to not hear the voice, to not come up and shake your hand and say hi and catch up on things.
Well, you just make sure you paddle Juju's ass for me, would you? Just give him a couple of good old spanks on that butt.
If he ever pulls a zero, he's definitely getting paddled. But no, we'll be good. We've had a lot of good training sessions, so the team's coming along well. It's different. You can actually see this because you've been to both the offlines from last year.
Yeah.
Our team keeps changing constantly.
Yeah, it does. You've never had that consistency because of various circumstances.
Yeah, it does change a little bit, but then again, like the quality though seems to keep increasing. So it's not bad changes. So It should be fun. And yeah, we'll look forward to what we have planned in advance. So
excellent. Well, say hello to all the humans for me, and I'll miss you all, but I'll be yamming it up at Tank Fest with Skate and the boys and the girls. And yeah, look after yourselves, guys, and stay safe on the battlefield. And bye for now.
all right, thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.